Hello, and welcome to the Old and In the Way podcast. Today's rant is about the Artista Gang. In the mid-1970s, three legendary Bay Area artists, Alton Kelley, Pat Ryan, and Dave Sheridan, ignited a creative spark that became the Artista Gang. What began as a loose circle of friends and collaborators around the Marin and Sausalito art scenes evolved into one of the most colorfully mythic art collectives of its time. Part poster movement, part social happening, part family. At the center of it all was Alton Kelley, the visionary designer best known for his psychedelic rock posters for the Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, the Jefferson Airplane, Pink Floyd, Steve Miller, and too many other artists to mention in this time frame. Within the Artista circle, Kelley was affectionately called El Presidente. His humor, aesthetic discipline, and love of hot rod and car club culture inspired the idea of the gang. Artists with satin jackets, a dragon logo, and a shared irreverence for creative boundaries, which takes us to the Artista Gang logo. The logo/symbol is the Artista Dragon, which was painted in oil by Pat Ryan, Dave Sheridan, and Alton Kelley. The dragon was created in 1980. The piece became the gang's banner and appeared on walls, posters, jackets, and studio doors across Marin County. In time, it evolved into a symbol for creative brotherhood. The West Coast answers to the East Village art collectives of the same era. The legacy lives on. The Artista Gang remains alive today in art, in memory, and in spirit. Social media communities, art shows, and retrospective exhibits keep the stories alive. The jackets, the parties, the posters, and the brotherhood of artists who live by one rule. And that rule? No rules. Many of the original artistas continue to produce work, teach, and inspire a new generation of Bay Area creatives. The dragon still breathes in Sausalito, Fairfax, and beyond. Wherever art is made in the spirit of freedom and fellowship. And now we take you back in time to the birthplace for the Artista Gang that happened at the Sausalito Food Company, located at 305 Harbor Drive, and the food company served it as the Artista Gang's unofficial clubhouse and world headquarters. The restaurant, perched on the working waterfront, was a gathering spot for artists, musicians, and the creative misfits of Marin County, of which apparently there were many. Late night parties, art shows, and wild brainstorming sessions gave birth to the gang's identity. Also, this is where the first Artista jackets appeared. Black satin, embroidered with the now famous Artista Dragon, designed collaboratively by Ryan, Sheridan, and Kelley in 1980. The dragon, oozing from a paint tube and wrapped in a rainbow arc, became the visual heartbeat of the Artisto's ethos. Vibrant, handmade, unbound, and unmistakably West Coast. If you walked into the Sausalito Food Company in the mid-70s, you might have thought you wandered onto a movie set. It was part bohemian cafe, part artist hangout, part rock and roll backroom, but in truth, it was all of these things. And before he was Mork from Mork, or the comic genius the world would come to love, Robin Williams worked at the Sausalito Food Company. Robin was already performing down the street at Gatsby's on Caledonia Street doing fast-fire improv that left locals doubled over. The food company wasn't just a restaurant, it was a launch pad, a meeting point for the wild, the witty, and the creative. The Smothers Brothers dropped in when they were in town. Shel Silverstein scribbled verses and sketches over coffee. Van Morrison was a regular presence at a corner table. Neil Young, when he was working on his tour bus nearby, popped in almost daily. Even Y.A. Tittle, the legendary quarterback, made appearances. Proof that the Sausalito scene had room for everyone. It was here at the food company that Kelley, surrounded by friends, laughter, and possibly some cannabis, decided to form the Artista Gang, declaring the restaurant our international headquarters. Kelley was a character, but in truth, it was less about running an organization and more about throwing unforgettable parties. A gathering of artists, musicians, and mischief makers who lived by one rule. And that rule? No rules. Kelley, forever dubbed El Presidente, led the charge with his quick wit, fearless creativity, and eye for beauty and chaos. From this unlikely headquarters, the Artista spirit spread across the Bay Area art scene, a mix of psychedelic color, irreverent humor, and camaraderie that still echoes through the poster art, and local lore today. In the midst of this creative swirl, Kelley met and married Penny Towner, celebrating their wedding at the food company with entertainment by Huey Lewis and Norton Buffalo. By the mid-'80s, Tom Johnston of the Doobie Brothers had become a part owner and investor in the food company. The band, Pablo Cruz, rehearsed at the heliport nearby and were more than regular. And then there was Journey, not just rock royalty, but genuinely good folk. They threw a private party at the food company, but their connections ran deeper. Kelley and Mouse painted all their album jackets, blending psychedelic flair with arena rock energy. Their presence added a layer of creative camaraderie to the scene, a reminder that even platinum-selling rockers could be part of the neighborhood fabric. But special thanks to Officers Robert Klein and Michael Patrick of the Sausalito Police, who had more than ample opportunities to haul us off, but they didn't. They kept the peace and the laughter rolling. As far as we were concerned, they were honorary artistas. Out of the laughter, music, and late night partying came a lasting creative bond. From that waterfront cafe grew a culture that celebrated the Bay Area's best instincts. Art without limits, friendship without boundaries, and humor that still rings true. The Artista Gang remains part of Marin and Sausalito folklore, born of Kelley's vision and the shared energy of a scene that could have only happened there. So here's to the Sausalito Food Company, the world headquarters of chaos, creativity, and camaraderie. Long may its stories be told. Thank you for your time today. This concludes today's rant. Laters.